We're live. Oh, we're live now. Cool. Okay. Hello, everybody. Let me pull this up on the chat skedoodles so I can see the chat. So if you're in here and you want to say what's up, I just wanted to come live because there's a lot going on. And I have been playing with magic a little bit tonight, playing with my cards, doing some collective readings and stuff, just kind of stepping back into the light. And I felt like talking about what happens during an upgrade. And then if we have enough people in here, I might do a card pull because I don't play with tarot a whole lot. But I've been feeling the call to play with it more and to do it more live. Just my own intuitive reading of cards. But I want to talk about upgrades because there's been a lot happening and what happens during an upgrade, because not a lot of people know this. What happens as we're upgrading our reality. Let me find a lighter so I can burn some sage. And if you're coming in, please say hello. This is kind of just like a spontaneous live, and I know we're all over the world, and so some people might not be awake unless you're West Coast or somewhere else. So collective upgrade, individual upgrades. When we begin to upgrade a part of our life, right? And because this is occurring right now for me and a few other people, there is a stimulating new earth economies that's occurring for many of us. And as a result of when we're going through an upgrade process like that, I want to talk about what happens. When we reach a new vibrational bandwidth, energetic bandwidth, we can find a collapse of things that no longer serve, but also things that are out of date in our reality, such as technology. So we see a lot of this happening during like Mercury retrograde, things of that nature. That really does have to do with the communication networks. And it also has to do when we're dealing with solar flares. And I talked about that with electronics going offline. But I know people currently where their vehicles are breaking down spontaneously. And me and one other person that I know right now are going through some financial stuff. And I want to let people know so we can escape the fear mechanism of something is happening to you, that when we go through an upgrade, our realities have to upgrade as a result of that. So if you find that things are breaking down or you're having problems with your financial institutions, cards are going weird, things like that, I want to let you know that you're actually going through an upgrade to your abundance, to your light body. You are going through a massive transition, and as a result, there's things that have to collapse as a result of that. So I just figured out too that I'm oh, thank you, Quantum. I just found out too that like there's some financial stuff that's going on, and I know another person that's going through that, and her and I are very we're kind of parallel in our realities with what's occurring. And so if you're encountering this, I want to let you know that it's a part of the quantum currency and the upgrades that we're going through. And as a result, credit cards, debit cards have to upgrade. So a lot of us don't work with credit cards. I don't work with credit, but I just want to let people know that it's a part of the upgrade process. Another part of the upgrade process, right, is body completely collapsing, right? Major health issues. Another thing that's occurring in my reality that I don't want to go into too much detail about unless I'm called to later on. But when our body is going through an upgrade, our body will go through a collapse process. Many of us right now are going through a lot of physical ascension symptoms, and there's so many that talk about this. Past couple days, I've been losing my spine, having to rest more. And for me, when I get jello spine, I know I'm going through a light body upgrade, but I'm also aware that I'm building a new internal support system. So as a result, my old support system falls, which will be my body. And it's an important part of the process, right? And to just really honor the integration and the chrysalis, the breakdown, the breakthrough, the rebuilding of our structures as that's occurring. So just really quickly, because I was just about to go to bed, and I encountered a situation, right? And I noticed fear coming to the surface. Oh crap, all the what ifs. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm going through an upgrade. I know someone else that's going through an upgrade in this similar format when it deals with quantum currency and newer support systems and the crystalline systems that are built to assist us in sustaining New Earth trajectories and our service roles and things of that nature. So it's also a really good sign, because I know a lot of people are watching what's going on economically, and it's a beautiful thing that's unraveling if you're tuned into the energetics of it. And so greetings from Montana. I'm going to be in Montana soon, so I can't wait to be in Montana. But yeah, cars. I have a neighbor who's similar thing. I know two people that are going through car stuff, right? And so when we view that a car is up, so this is my viewpoint, all right? So once again, perspective-based analysis, right? And we don't have to get into analysis paralysis, because that's a very big thing. A lot of us can start to overanalyze and like, what's going on here? When I see that a vehicle is breaking down, it's because you're going through a light body upgrade. So our light body is our vehicle and it's our chariot. So before we used to speak of our chariot of ascension was the Merkaba, right? So when the Merkaba builds and we merge all of our bodies, emotional, mental, astral, soul, build our soul body, the new vehicle of ascension for us is the light body. So when we go through a light body upgrade, we will notice that we need to upgrade our vehicles too. So if we don't do that, the cars can go down. Things can go haywire. I want to remind you too that if it's an electrical issue, okay, very common with solar flares and very common with quantum upgrades. Many times when I go through a massive quantum upgrade, I need to upgrade all of my technology. Computers, cell phones, we'll notice things going haywire. Well, it's because we're spinning at such a fast rate that it actually begins to, this is the quantum view, right? So like I've never seen a science definition of this, right? And so really right here, I know people might want to go, well, what's the theory behind this? Where's the science? Well, we're working quantum, we're not working Newtonian physics here. And we will probably see more of this unravel, especially when we're speaking of the electromagnetic field and how that affects and interfaces with our technology, which we already have proof of with the solar flares, right? So we already have astronomers, and we have people that are in, quantum physics and quantum theory that are studying what happens to the magnetic field as a result of the solar alignments, okay? So one level is the electromagnetism and the increase of that in the field, our diamagnetics and the diametrics of our toroidal field, and our magnetic field is going to interface differently with electronics and cause that to throw things off haywire wise. But at a quantum level, okay, so speaking quantum, I notice that when we start to upgrade and our internal processing system goes too fast, right? Because we're holding so much light at a quantum level internally, like we're holding our light body firm and strong. What happens is that there's a lot of technology that can't keep up with the speed in which we are spinning, right? So we can look at it one level spinning like the Merkaba, but it's actually, we're glowing so bright and processing at such a fast speed that our old processing units need to upgrade as a result of that. So I just wanted to bring that on because there's someone in the chat that typed that their car is dead. Hello. Thank you. Thank you. Another thing too is Judgment Day, right? Because someone talked about the V word here. All right. So for the sake of coding, guys, I'm not going to mention certain words, right? Because we just don't need to propagate those timelines. But I'm actually currently in this very same situation. Okay. I have families that made the choice to do these things. And I want to preface this, right? The way that I view this, okay, is based upon, once again, my vibrational bandwidth, the level of consciousness that I hold, and my perspective. So when I speak this out right now into the collective field, this is my perspective and what I've unpacked with another friend, okay? Everyone's going to have a different choice and a different viewpoint on this. And I can already feel it kind of build up as a trigger point, right? I'm not here to instill belief systems, right? I'm here to share my truth of what I witness. And if you want to take it or leave it, it's up to you. Okay. And this was something I didn't want to come on and share, but someone did mention it, and it's really prevalent to my own reality in life right now. And I feel like it's important to share. Okay. Is that I have family members that made that choice too. Okay. what has occurred is it's created a very big dent and detriment into my family. And I have one right now who's in a life or death situation in the hospital. And it breaks my heart, right? And I actually just did a video on this and I was like, okay, I'm not going to post it. But now it just feels like there's a soul calling to share this, right? And it's about judgment, right? We're all going through a collective dark night awakening, right? Like, thank you, Uranus and Pluto, for doing what you're doing, because it's shifting things awake for us. And the amount of revelation that's coming through with spring equinox and then the Easter gateway, all the resurrection and all the revelation, it's still ongoing and occurring, right? So we're going to understand this more at another level. But we're collectively going through a judgment day. Okay. So what is a judgment day? A judgment day is a life review. Whenever I'm coming up on a judgment day in my own life, I will literally kind of be brought to an angelic courtroom and kind of start to go through where am I judging and releasing those judgments. All right. I want to talk about the power of shifting out judgment, because basically when they made that choice consciously as a family to go through that experience, I judged it. Okay. And now we're at a situation where my mother is in a situation where we know what's occurring, right? Like us at a quantum level, and my teams and my tribe, we know that it's a part of her awakening. But now she's facing life or death with heart failure. And it's not as a result of this, okay? It's not as a result of this one thing. It might have been icing on the cake. I don't know, but there's a series of events that led up to it. But I have a conscious choice point on how I'm going to view this, right? Because here's the thing. We here in the family of light, okay? Let's think about that word for a second. Family of light, okay? Unified one, here, soul family, light. What is light? Light is love. Love is love, plain and simple. Love is not judgment. So I just went on a big, kind of pedestal ramble in a video, and I was like, I'm not going to post it because I'm not here to pedestal and to do those things, right? I'm not going to soapbox platform these things, because basically when we recognize multidimensional expression, right, and that we all have free will choice in our pathways and in the navigation point of our reality, we can begin to witness and recognize that everyone's going to have a different belief system, okay? And really, for us, it's about honoring that for the individual and then making the choice point on what the action sequence is based upon that belief system, if you want to allow that belief system or not in your reality. But when we think of the alchemy of love, right, I, Corey, so I'm speaking I as the presence of the I am here, consciously chose to walk this earth plane wearing the number 144,000 on my back and wearing it in my heart, right? That's a conscious choice that I made. So when I chose to shine my light and to wear my angel wings and to honor that number, okay, that meant that no matter what, I was always going to come back to love and neutrality. I see a lot of people that are wearing their light that are right now casting a lot of judgment into the collective. When we look at a cycle or a loop, okay, just from very, very simple understanding of psychology, fear, okay, so if someone's engaging with fear or a trauma response, and they begin to activate more of that judgment on the fear or the trauma response, we find them getting themselves into a loop, because there's now an action sequence to knock off the polarity of the judgment to come back into that place of love and neutrality. A lot of people don't know that, okay? So if they're in fear and then they're getting cast a judgment by us, where we can start fueling that loop, fueling that loop cycle of that collective response of looping back into that narration, right? And so then it's really up to us right now that are holding the light and that are pioneering a new path to hold the love. Hold the love. Hold the light, okay? And if we can't for an individual, right, and we are holding judgment, it's okay. I still have judgment too, right? So I'm not sitting here saying that I'm some perfect person, you know, right? Like I still have human emotions and I still have responses to things because I still have triggers and I'm still unraveling. And I honor that process. When a judgment comes up though, it's important for me to love the judgment, because the alchemy of love is what is going to shift that out, right? Judgment wants to be heard. That's why we have judgment days. That emotion, okay, if we can sit down and talk to that frequency within us, we can recognize that it has something to say. And the judgment gets louder and louder and louder until the voice is heard from within us. Same with collectively too. And so the more that we can honor and respect that the judgment exists within us, and then love it, bringing it to the light, love, right? We see a lot of people talking about love and light, love and light, love and light. Love is light. There's no separation between light and love. That's what it is. Light is understanding. Light is awareness. Light is love. There's so much into the diamond light, right? So many fractals and perspectives, frequencies, hues that make up the diamond light, that make up the rainbow, okay? So one of them, speaking of the fundamental frequency of love, is when we inject that love into that narration that's playing out, we assist in shifting that out. Okay? So even myself, I came into this point where I was like, here I am judging this thing, and now this person has reached a point of bifurcation in their life, choice point, right? And it's someone I deeply care about. So am I gonna hold judgment for their choice? Well, if I do, okay, conscious choice. If I have judgment within my cellular body, then it's my responsibility to go within and to hold that with love and to clear it and to dispel it from my field. But then too is that when it comes to acts of compassion that are going to shift us into the higher realm trajectories, or what we would call the organic pathways, right? Or however we want to view it or frame it, right? Newer systems, right? They're built on humanitarian templates, which are acts of compassion and kindness in this world, right? And so that's when we speak of embodiment, right? It's embodying that, right? Living light code keepers, right? The codes are active within us, right? For magic, for bliss, for harmony, for joy, for peace, for divine love and sacred connection. Then it's up to us in the roles of embodiment to hold that and to walk as that and to share that where we can. And if we can't because we have judgment, that's when we go within and we love it to begin to dispel it out of our field and out of our cellular bodies. This is really prevalent right now. And there's a lot of people that are casting shade. Okay, so think of shade. What is shade? Shadow. They're casting shade and shadow on those that have made that choice, right? And yet we here are claiming our angelic light. We're claiming our I am presence. We're declaring sovereignty. So as a result, like when it comes to belief systems, right? There's someone that has a differing belief system than you, right? So free will here. That person has free will choice to play out that narrative in their life. We don't have to accept it in, right? So we can accept them and honor that they have that belief, but we can also say no to that belief and push it out. So it's not like all of a sudden we need to just start taking on this stuff, right? But it is, a big part of sovereignty for all of us, right? Is that sovereign of heart, sovereign mind, sovereign soul, but also sovereign body, okay? And as a result of that, it's our conscious choice to dispel out of our own body too, that which we need to let go of, including myself. And it's something that a lot of people it's coming up for review right now. The big thing is the body is beginning to speak its truth. And a lot of people are breaking down as a result of that, right? And as a result, that's the choice point. Now, how are we going to engage the body, the sacred body, right? The divine human body in a new way, in a new essence. And we recognize, like, so even myself, there are ways that I don't treat my body with respect with what I intake. And so then I know that that's a collapsed timeline. And I'm in conversation with my universe about that when the time is right, my body will reject it naturally. But we're really coming into a time of sovereign body. And sovereign body means that there are things that we will not be able to handle anymore. And our body is going to completely break down, depending on the person, by the way, because there are people that are very sovereign body, they're very healthy, and their body's not going to break, right? But it is a process for us when the light body comes online that we go through a cellular breakdown or a cellular dissolve, death and rebirth cycles, and we rebuild back up with the new templates and the new divine blueprints. Okay, so it's common right now. But something caused me to shift into that, to discuss that a little bit about what happens when our light comes on and how it clears. And I think I've talked about it before, maybe not in a video, but I've talked about it in one-on-one sessions, and I've talked about it in my light body workshop, the basics, the light body basics, what happens, right? And so, this whole thing is, it's a big deal, right? And I'm not here to say that it's right or wrong. Okay, I'm not going to play into the polarity. I know the illusion, I'm aware of it, but I'm also aware of what it's doing for other people. Okay, it's a choice point in a lot of people's lives, and then they get to make the choice whether they want to stay. It's mass exodus has been a big one through this, and we hear it, right? Like, I'll hear a frequency hit and I'll hear Exodus start playing by Bob Marley, and it's like, oh man, here we go again. And it's sad and it hurts, especially witnessing this in my own family. And it's not a result. I believe consciously that played a factor in what had occurred in my family's life. But there's a sum of all parts that's creating it. And I see it because what it's doing is it's opening up a doorway of freedom for them to be able to walk into change and to shift. Because once they begin to support the body in that fashion of eating healthier and maintaining a more balanced lifestyle, they're going to find more harmony in their life, right? Especially since they're waking up. So the viewpoint is really up to us on how we view it. But I really wanted to talk about the love language and the alchemy of love when we're witnessing this stuff in our own families or in the collective, because I see so many people jumping to finger pointing and shame and guilting people that are making that choice. And then it's like, we're claiming to be light workers, right? Well, light is love, and we have to love unconditionally. So we have to look at how is it that we can show that love to another person, but not to another in the unified essence, right? Where do we hold that within? And really take this time to go within and to allow that structure to break down within ourselves. These energies really, if we can go deep right now into that stuff, when you feel it come to the surface, it will clear a lot quicker, right? And resolving the judgment, coming back to neutrality with it, right? So we kind of go off into it and we bring it back in. Another good thing that really does help is the infinity loop. Working with the infinity symbol to knock off the polarity and to bring that belief system into back into neutrality. It's going to help to knock off the polarity of it and being able to come back to center for ourselves. And so it's been amazing. Kind of going through, I'm just catching up with the chat right now. Hello, everybody. Yeah, there's a lot of people right now that are at that choice point, whether they want to stay or whether they want to go. And it's really hard to witness, especially when it's someone you love and care about, right? And so it's interesting because with that, it's how do we hold love and compassion for whatever choice they make, right? Through that. And that's been a big thing for me. That's been coming online, is how we can allow the person to have their path and not trying to control or manipulate or dictate, especially when it's someone you really love and care about, not interfere. It's really been fascinating. So I'm actually going to pull some cards for the collective here, because I want to get off that topic, but it's been prevalent in my field and someone mentioned it, and it's really disheartening to witness. And there's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes that we don't need to get into energetically, that I've seen, and things we can do to clear it. So if you have questions about that, you can reach out to me, or we can book a session, talk about it. But let's switch, because right now, with all this, with Pluto retrograde, and with Uranus right now doing what it's doing and what it's been doing, this has really been a time of catalytic awakening. And so I want to pop it up a few octaves and just share some love. So I want to just see what does the collective need to hear too, because I've been playing with cards a little bit more, because I don't normally read tarot live or read for other people, but I am a big tarot and oracle card fan. And for me, right now I found this too, is that the more that we step into our divine gifts and abilities, the more we're going to give them an opportunity to expand and play. So there is a lot of like chaos ensuing, right? Around us. I see it and I feel it. I don't pay attention to what goes on a whole lot because I've got enough going on in my own reality to keep me busy. But as a result, if we can take a moment to find what activates our play, it really is going to assist us. Like even right now, I noticed my huge energy shifts just as a result of beginning to pull out the cards and just shuffle, right? Right now with this expansion that's occurring at a cellular level to our DNA, to the light body upgrades, everything is that if we can begin to take those moments to step into our divine wisdom and playing with our intuition, you'll notice how much it's evolved. I will definitely say that, you know, I had a session last night and I noticed that there was a different way that I was conversing, a different way that I've been speaking my soul essence and connecting to my soul essence. And I found that I'm actually reading differently, I'm interpreting differently. And it's because, you know, what occurred was that I wasn't attaching to the wisdom that was being downloaded or to the insight or the activations as they were occurring. I just kept myself open to the frequencies that were hitting, and I allowed the integrations to occur. By no means am I fully integrated, right? So Atiya Mahakara. By no means am I fully integrated, but I'm noticing that the more that I play with my divinity here and now in this sacred space, I find that there's a different level of insight and growth and perspective that's switching. And it's really fascinating. So I want to just take a moment to pull some cards while we're just clearing the energy here. What does the collective need here? Funny. So then the card that came up said no. And it says wait, postpone, pause, say no. But I intuitive read these cards. And it's fascinating what we were just talking about. So obviously it's prevalent in the field. Just say no. But what I'm seeing too is that through this revelation, keep saying no to those systems that no longer serve you, right? So a lot of this is that declaration of sovereignty, that when we witness a belief system being strewn throughout, we have an opportunity to say yes and to accept it or to say no, right? So a lot of taking our power back from the storyline and from the narrative is one level is shut it off if you can, right? Turn off the television, you know, and it's not from the sake, it's different for everyone. Some people pay attention because that's a part of their what they do in watching the collective trajectories and seeing what's going on. But right now is an opportunity to say no to that which no longer serves. Belief system wise, when you see it come up, say, no, I don't accept you anymore, right? Sovereignty, body sovereignty, because at a cellular level, right, you're going to begin rejecting that belief system from your cellular body, and you're going to allow that cleanse and that purification to go through. Really right now, it's interesting because I'm seeing this. We're entering a passageway, okay? So if we see there's this road, we got two mountains, we got a storm. I don't see this that there's a storm ahead, right? I really don't. What I want to talk about is we're in a pathway of power. So I see the lightning here as kind of Thor's hammer. So I always take this as God consciousness, revelation, right? Truth. This is also a process of reprogramming Gaia. Okay, so I don't see this as a storm brewing, like, uh-oh, some stuff is about to go down. Okay, what I see is that we're walking through a passageway of revelation again here. And really to stay walking on our illuminated pathway, okay, and to recognize that not everything is as it seems. So it's interesting because if you look really close, you see a pyramid behind the cloud, okay? So once again, it's about perception, okay? It's about the quick turn of events. If you've noticed lately, I mean, even myself, I watch the collective trajectories of what's going on. When I'm called to it and I'm doing timeline review and I'm watching the timelines, I'll hear the pathways of what's unraveling. And I always find that there's a pathway that opens up, and it usually leads in something not so cool occurring, at least what I've reviewed. I also witness and recognize, though, too, that there's always a really quick turnaround in events. Not everything is as it appears or as it seems, okay? So we call it like a big 180 and a reversal that occurs, where we expect it's going to be some way, and then all of a sudden there's a miracle, or there's a sudden turn in events. There's enough people here stabilizing the new earth frequency on Gaia, right? That when that comes up and we're walking through that passageway into the storm, right? So how does it feel walking into a storm? All of that stuff is going to start to come forward. And then what happens when there's a miracle at the end of it? All of a sudden the polarity shifts and we find an activation sequence within our own body. Have you ever watched a movie that's really brought up a lot of magic or miracles, or even in your own life have experienced a miracle, right? And it was during that time when you were at your lowest, and spirit, right? Or your guardianship or your soul, your higher self, your universe, your God, whatever you choose to believe, injects this miracle just at the right time. And what it does is it brings that glimmer of hope back into your eye, right? And it ignites your DNA into remembering that miracles exist, right? This is the golden race DNA. This is that beautiful crystalline consciousness that as we're walking through our passageway, we have that moment of that miracle that shows up. And then all of a sudden it ignites something within our soul, a passion, a drive. It activates a sequence in our DNA of remembering that we have full power over our creation and full choice on our perspective in the creation of the pathways, and that we can choose to accept miracles into our life more, right? And as a result, think about what that does at a collective level. It ripples everything out. And we're going to see this happening more at like a smaller level, right? And until it expands more and more. I will see definitely in my own reality, a lot more people are waking up. And in a good way, right? The revelation has unfolded a healthy curiosity to what is occurring with energy. Like, especially me being very open and vocal about energy and my understanding of it, and you know, the basics that I understand life and perceive from my own pathway trajectory and the wisdom that I've embodied. There's a lot more people that are showing interest in that normally would have shamed it or judged it or shunned it. Okay, that's because what's happening is they're seeing that there's this miracle, you know, that has happened in my own life that's created a spark in my own eye, right? There's a glimmer of hope in my eye because I had to find that through many of these passageways. And as a result of that revelation, they see hope in it, and they're having a healthy curiosity. There's a doorway that's opened, a pathway that's opened for them to be able to align to that themselves. And so right now it's just recognizing that first off, say no, but we're walking through, we're traveling this passageway, okay? But I want to remind everyone, we're walking this passageway together, right? Unity consciousness, we're walking this passageway together. So we don't need to beat each other up on the pathway, okay? Like, we're all having the experience. We're all feeling things at whatever level, whether you're having the best time of your life or you're in the deepest of your sorrows, right? A little bit of compassion goes a long way. So a lot of this too is coming back to that level of compassion. Coming back into also our creator consciousness stance, right? What are we going to create here, guys? There are new pathways that are open. There are new higher trajectories open. But a part of us stimulating and activating those in the collective and anchoring them and walking them is that we need to be of a vibrational match to that. So that means that we have to align to that. Love, harmony, peace, unity, balance, truth, clarity. So let's see. Is there another card that wants to come through right now for everyone? As I'm starting to lose my body myself, I'm about to go down and collapse. So I can't even really shuffle a whole lot right now. There's another card that wants to come through. Okay. The Heart Light of the Divine Mother. So by the way, if you're wondering what deck this is the Work Your Light deck by Rebecca Campbell. And I love using it because the pictures for me always tell me a lot. But this is Anna, grandmother of Jesus. And it says, seeding the light, laying foundations, divine plan. So it's really embracing the love of the Divine Mother, the heart light of the mother that's shining down on us and nurturing all of us right now, and embracing more of that. You know, this presence, this feminine essence, this purified feminine essence is really assisting us in anchoring more of the Eden frequencies here. So I'm seeing this as Eden, right? Garden of Eden, all of us walking, playing, and that nurturing support of the Divine Mother that is really supporting us and tuning into that more, right? So it's one of those that the feeling state of the mother and the embrace of the mother is really felt in a soft kind of cloak, right? Over us. It's a support. It's a nurture. It's a nature. It's something that a lot of us are discussing right now. But I want to talk about the contrast between these two cards, right? And knowing that this right here is actually support. It's right behind this. We can almost see it as the pyramid right here. It's like as soon as we get through this, we're going to feel more of this, even if you don't feel it right now, because this energy is very subtle. And the mother too, this divine mother essence really is, while it's nurturing and supporting and loving, there's a layer of the mother that comes forward that assists us in really cutting through all of our BS, all of our belief systems, in really being able to say no, right? Take our power back, but also giving us a soft nurturing essence to assist us in letting go more. She's asking us to embody more of the play and more of the trust. And, it's interesting because this is, grandmother, it says here. And this is coming back to, I've been feeling that the weeping willow essence coming through a lot recently, and the support of that crystalline network. And for me, it's really that elder crone essence almost that's coming through a lot. That's really, there's no BS in it. And it's really assisting us in shifting out a lot very quickly. And really it's about, the word coming through is radical realignment, right? A realignment of our reality really quickly. And a part of that is a really big dissolution. Okay. And it's fascinating because actually right here, we see two towers, two pillars, standing. What do we have here? Same. It's like this, it's just beyond this. This is like what I feel like we're seeing and what we are going to be walking into. And, right now, the energies have been extremely transformative. It's been absolutely constant death and rebirth. I just got out of a huge transformation. And when I saw the caterpillars about a week and a half ago, I was like, oh my gosh, another one? And this is a really big chrysalis that I'm in, and I'm aware of what it does. And I'm aware of what's transpiring. And I'm aware that, the deeper I go, the higher the expansion, or the greater the expansion that occurs as a result of the integration and the downtime. But let's note that word there, integration, right? Which means sacred rest. Don't do too much. Allow the rebirth to occur. Don't try to fly when you're at 3/4 strength of your wings. And I even have to say that to myself, right? Because I'm very impatient. I'm one of those where I can pop up a little too soon and it can take my integration longer to occur. So a part of honoring that chrysalis is when we're in the cocoon, that we're in that divine canal of the reseeding, the rebirthing ourselves. It's really allowing ourselves to be in that process of transformation. And when the timing is right, like we don't force the flower open too quickly, because when we do, we can actually end up killing the flower. It's allowing the natural blossom and the natural bloom to occur. And, to say that this, so even though we're in a very heavy transition point and heavy transformation zone right now, this definitely isn't the end of transformation. We're also in an acceleration of, that's it, no more. Like Gaia taking her power back and really wanting this stuff to be resolved. As a result, we're seeing more revelation too. And I'm kind of going off card here into another flow because there's another layer that came up. I was sent an article by Marissa regarding some stuff that's happened. They found some waste over off Catalina Island from World War II, right? And a part of what we tuned into, and she helped me to unpack this too, is when she said it, it just was very clear as day for me, was that, Gaia is going to be revealing a lot of the stuff that we've done to assist in harming our planet. And really it's up to us to begin to witness that. And a lot of us know this, right? Like if you are, conscious, or you're a grid worker, and even, I don't want to label the conscious unconscious thing, but a lot of us know what's happened on planet Earth and what we've done, whether all the details and all the facts, or you're just aware that we've been harming the planet. Gaia is going to begin revealing more of these, the hidden depths and what's occurred to the planet. Okay, we're speaking planetary, how we've been ruining the environment more and more. And that's going to be revealed more and more, because that's going to be more of our choice point of our purpose and our path. So then when that happens, right, it's about, for us, what can we do about it, right? What is within our capabilities to assist in that? Okay. Can we join an environmental cleanup crew? Can we send a prayer? Can we do some grid work? Is there someone we can contact? Can we donate, right? What is within our capabilities to respond to that if you feel called to respond to that? And that's really a lot of what is coming forward too as part of the revelation that's occurring. And I wanted to mention that because for some reason it seemed very prevalent to bring up regarding the truths that are going to be coming about more. And then also it's going to be sustainable means, sustainable ways to be able to support Gaia more. So, am I still live? I wonder if I'm still live. Yeah, I am. Okay, good. I'm just making sure because my screen clicked, but I'm reading through the chat really quick. So Quantum asked, funny question was, what if others are judging you for not subscribing? That's their judgment. You know, the biggest thing is you said it right there. Just say no. Don't take that on. If you feel something from it, you know, step into that feeling of where you feel casted out or you feel heartbroken from that. But please, yeah, just say no to that. Cool, I'm still live. All right, thank you guys. Just making sure. All right, I think I'm gonna pull. Is there anything else coming from this card right now? Stepping into your ancient wisdom too, I'm seeing from this. Stepping into your ancient wisdom, I'm hearing also step into your guardianship role, right? What does that look like for you? And the guardian, okay, the guardian is, the guardianship role is a protector, right? So is it a protector of children? Is it a protector of families? A protector of the divine feminine? A protector of the divine masculine? A protector of sacred wisdom, right? The protector isn't battling though, right? So about standing guard, right? The guardianship is you stand in your power and in your light. But it's that we're not going out and attacking, right? We're just holding. We're holding the vibration of New Earth. We're holding the frequency. We're holding the living light code. We're holding the grids. And many people right now, it's really a time for us to stand up into our guardianship at a greater level. So if there's another way that you can step into a guardianship role, guardian of Gaia, guardian of the mother, right? Guardian of the children, guardian of the animals, whatever it is for you, whatever resonates, please do that, right? Heed that call. Heed that call. It's a beautiful role being a guardian. And we go through our initiations, right? We go through our tests and we go through our reviews and we learn as we go. So we dissolve the judgment over all of the guardianship polarity and the distortions that occur. But it really is about heeding the call if you feel that call to be a guardian at some level, right? Here too, I'm really getting this sense of ancient wisdom and really unlocking that in our DNA. What's our ancient wisdom? How can we share that? How can we allow ourselves to express that, right? There's a lot of the energy in this is we've got, you know, ancient Egypt here, but we've also got a lot of Mayan stuff coming up. And I know there's people talking a lot about this passageway and the Mayan teachings. I am by no means well versed in that, so I'm not going to sit here and express anything about Mayan culture because I just don't know it. But there's really something here about accessing those ancient roots and that ancient DNA that's within us that's unlocking right now. And how do we express that and share that? Right? Your DNA will talk to you if you sit down to consciously talk to it. So if you take a moment to just sit with your DNA and to listen, your DNA will speak and sing its song to you. It will. I promise you. So if you take a moment to just find a moment of silence throughout your day and just tune into your body and go, DNA, what do you have to tell me? What do you have to share? What music do you want to share with me now? Your DNA will speak. It will. How you intuitively work with that message, right? And however it translates to you is going to be for you and you alone. But your DNA will speak to you. Your body will speak to you. your cells will speak to you, excuse me. Your cells will speak to you. And so it really is about when we're unlocking that ancient wisdom, right? When you feel that call and that opening, go and go, what's within me? Begin to ask those questions. Those questions are creating a communication point to all of you, right? So it's like a part of us knocking on the door of our living libraries within is we have to knock on the door and the door will open. So we answer the call, we knock, what's behind this door? And there unlocks, right? The door opens and we're allowed in the passageway of our form, of our lifetimes, of our origin DNA, of our truth, of our living libraries, of our wisdom. And we can begin to unpack that however we choose to unpack that, right? But a lot of it is going to be having to, for all of us, right? Settle the mind and to trust what you're hearing, right? To trust at a very deep sacred level that what you're hearing is correct for you. So a lot of this, the ancient, the origin DNA and the ancient DNA coming online, and remembering those soul aspects or remembering those lifetimes, is that within it, you might not know certain details, right? Everyone's got a different codex. I know for me, there's details I don't remember, but there's this really natural and organic wisdom that comes through when I show up, right? And it's like, it's one of those things where once I just jump into that spirit of the soul essence, right? And the spirit of the higher self, the spirit of forgiveness within myself, there's this natural flow and current occurs, and I don't know where it comes from, right? But it's not channeled from something up here. It's actually birthed and born from within, and it just comes up and through naturally. And that's a part of unlocking that, right? So especially when we've got a lot of sage energy or elder energy, it's like this wisdom just intuitively pops up out of nowhere. Being able to know what to say to the right person at the right time, how to read a field, right? Everyone plays with their ancient wisdom differently. Some people hold keys and can unlock very, very detailed descriptions of things that have occurred during that time or fundamental truths that the collective needs to hear. It's going to be different for everyone. Some of their wisdom is very esoteric if you can go deep enough into it. Some of it is just very simple, right? Some of it's just very holy and beautiful. And so really for you, it's allowing the expression of that ancient wisdom to come up and forward and through you as your individuation of source and of your expression of it. And try not to compare that you don't sound like this person or it's not as like cool as this person, right? A lot of me with my gifts and my abilities was that I had to recognize that the wisdom that I held was actually very beautiful. And while it might not be as like this, some of it is not really crazy esoteric quantum knowledge that other pioneers are at, one level is it'll get there once I get back into the genius codes that I hold and I activate that pathway within myself to be able to unlock that stuff, like a lot of the Tesla Einstein lines that activate that level of consciousness within us. But also recognizing too that like if it's not super esoteric, right, and it's more like artistic and it's more poetic in your expression, that there's power in that as well, right? And it's the heart power, right? So this stuff is not about battling truths of the mind, right? The truth isn't here so the ego can get the stamp of you're right. It's a feeling and an essence that we embody. And so really this wisdom, once again, coming through is heart-centered wisdom, right? It's a feeling state that we activate and we share. Okay, so just wanting to, that really, really wanted to come through for some reason. Awesome, Kevin, awesome. So guys, do we have one more card? Okay, one more card. Cool. Do one more card and then I'm gonna go to bed. So guys, thank you for popping out. Oh, we got two more cards. Thank you for hopping out. I wanted to come on and talk about the upgrades too, because I noticed there's some upgrades happening in my reality. And I don't want anyone to dive into fear unless they need to declare it. But to just let people know that it's really, it's a part of us upgrading when things start to fall apart, especially with technology, cars. And I'm noticing a few of us having some financial stuff. So of course it's going to happen, especially with what's occurring. So pillar of light, pillar of light. Your vibration is rising. You are the oracle, right? You are the oracle. That's funny. I'm going to take that message. I claim that one. What do you speak? It's about diving into the waters of the unknown, right? The divine feminine essence. So I don't want to get super, like, it's weird. I normally don't read like this, but it's coming forward so like you can almost, this almost looks like a yoni space, right? And it's like going into this divine feminine essence here, deep into the unknown, into the caves of creation to unlock that wisdom and to share it with the world. It really ties in with what I was just talking about with the ancient DNA, right? So for me, you know, free of getting super graphic here, it's like, it's the beauty of that creative space, whether you're male or female, right? And what we're doing is we're going deep into the unknown of the caves of creation to retrieve that knowledge and to share it with the world, right? It's in the depths, right? It's in the depths, and that's a big part of transformation. You know, I'm also seeing a lot of big angelic presence here. Yep. Embrace your angel. Embrace your angel. Don't be scared of your light. Don't be afraid of your angelic truth, right? It's one of those things for us that stepping into the angelic presence, you know, I find that there's a lot of people that begin to go like, oh no, like, and now here I am an angel. Does that mean that I have to be, you know, there's these certain things that you have to let go of or whatever. Like I see a lot of people start to fear their angelic presence, right? To fear their power and to fear that like, now all of a sudden your life's going to be lost because you stepped into that role of your guardianship and your angelic presence. And no, actually, there are things that we do have to let go of, right? There's belief systems and there's ideologies and things that we need to let go of that don't serve that presence, right? Because it's actually in the way of us embodying that angelic self. But when you step into that, right? And sometimes we have to sway in and out of it because we have to work through our human stuff. Like you find that your real, raw, authentic self is angelic in that presence, right? And we're going to see that. We're going to see, especially with the men, right? This is a really big time of a lot of men stepping up into their roles or into another level of their roles, okay? And I want to say this right now. Men of the world, do not be afraid of your light. You don't need to be scared of your light, right? You don't need to be scared of your angelic wings. There's a really big masculine transformation that's occurring right now. And I'm actually not going to go into it because once again, I unpack a lot of data and code with friends, and it's something that I want to say for this person to share just for out of integrity, right? Because I'm seeing it within my own self, but there's something she's seeing in the collective, and I want her to share that if she feels like it's time to share that with the alignments and what's occurring. But men, it's okay to be an angel. It's okay to be feminine, right? It's okay to embrace that level of you and to let it out forward and through. Really too, this is also, I'm seeing this as another level of connecting more to the crystalline core of Mother Earth. So if you see, we've got this rainbow pillar going straight down into the core, right? So for us to, about embracing our pillars, staying connected, right? Staying connected to source, but also connecting more with the crystalline core of Mother Earth. So when we talk about the caves of creation, that's really unlocked through the crystalline core of Mother Earth and working in direct guardianship with her. And especially if you are a grid keeper or grid worker, right? So it's really about right now, a part of stabilizing and balancing the frequencies that have been coming through is connecting more, right? And there's one level of like going out and grounding, getting our feet in nature, but it really is about truly connecting to the core of Mother Earth, the crystalline core of Gaia, and really breathing in that mother light, you know, from that support and the embrace of the crystalline core of Mother Earth, because it's really going to assist us in stabilizing and in balancing through the shifts that are occurring, right? So really basking in the waters of the divine, connecting to that nature. And is there anything else that wants to come forward through? Hearing the song Welcome to Paradise by Green Day. I don't know if any of you listen to Green Day, but it's off their Green Day Dookie album. Welcome to Paradise. So if that's a message for someone, so it's one of my favorite songs is Welcome to Paradise, right? And it's a funny song because it's about, in the way that the lyrics are represented through that song, it's about all of the chaos that's ensuing in his neighborhood. And he's like, kind of like, welcome to paradise, you know, rolling his eyes. But I don't see this as a level of sarcasm, right? What I see this is actually like, welcome to paradise. Okay. It's just beyond these passageways in these times, but we also have to find paradise from within. Okay. How can we find paradise within? ourselves. What does that look like to us? What is the frequency of that? It's going to assist in stabilizing through what's occurring right now. And, frankly, I'll even say this right now. If I were to shut this off and go outside right now, would I consciously be like, this is paradise? Depending on my perspective, what's been going on lately, I would definitely say, because I'm being real here. But what it's asking for is to embody that energy of paradise within ourselves. Because if we don't have an external paradise, we can find our internal paradise and we can live there in the cocoon. We can embrace that within ourselves. And when we hold that paradise frequency within, right, what is that to us? Because there's a lot of right now, there's a lot of ancient civilizations that are coming back in their futuristic ascended form. So we're seeing a lot of towns and communities coming online that have a representation or a very important passageway of coding that they hold, right? So we have things like Eden codes, Lemuria, Atlantis in its ascended form. Let's go back to ascended form that are beginning to pop up all over the planet, right? So a lot of this accessing that paradise within us, right? And it's funny because it's actually going into the paradise suns, which is something that Sandra Walter talks a lot about right now, which is coming forward. Accessing that paradise within us is going to begin to embody more of those templates that have been anchored through this passageway. Is the paradise template, the paradise codes that have been given to us by the paradise sons. And there's even Eden templates that I know of. And I'm not one to speak on the Eden templates because I don't consciously know if I'm a holder of them or not, but I know that there's a gentleman who does work with the Eden codes and the Eden templates. And when I find out who he is, if you're interested, I will post it in my community tab about his sessions with the Eden codes. But the paradise templates that exist within us are assisting us in anchoring the paradise here and now. But as a result, right, higher light overlay, what happens? We need that old stuff to crumble and fall, and then the paradise comes out over that, right? And some areas are ready for it, and some collectives aren't, right? So city, state, country, some of them are ready for that, and many are anchoring those crystalline cities and those crystalline collectives in the very much so micro sense or in a small sense. But when that expands out, it's going to be the time frame in which that occurs is going to be varied based upon so many different things and so much different work that's occurring, and we have to get away from the time frame of when that occurs. But really, for us, accessing paradise from within is accessing that place of peace and purity from within and allowing that to be an anchor point, right? The pillar of light is anchoring those codes of paradise here and now in a part of what we're occurring, right? What's occurring right now and what we're anchoring. But it's also about when we hold that frequency of paradise within and we expand that into the collective, it's going to assist a lot in opening up the new pathways that are emerging through this passageway. So just a remembrance point of that, right? Is that through this passageway, beginning to embody those higher frequencies and that higher light through our column is going to assist greatly in being able to shift out and open up those pathways for ourselves and for others as well. And that's a big part of bridge keeping, gatekeeping, grid keeping. And so just a reminder of that. One last card, and then Corey is going to bed. Oh my gosh. Love you too, Chelsea. Hello, hello, hello. Okay. Last card, deep replenishment. Deep replenishment. Okay. This one's very simple. Retreat, rest, be held. This one is very imperative for the transformation that's occurring, especially going into the chrysalis, right? Is to really rest, be held, be nurtured. The other two is that what do you want to say here? You might find that, so I find this happening in my own life, that there's some days during the solar transit that I'm just not feeling it. And then I spark to life at night and under the moon energy and when the stars are out, right? So really it's about finding what part of your day, right, is really bringing forward the best essence and best version of you, and then working with the energetics and the energy streams as they arrive for you. So when we're in high gamma rays, right, high gamma frequencies, we can find that like we might be getting to bed later, like 3, 4, 5 a.m. Some people are up all night. I know people that can be up for like 36 hours at a time because their light body is just online, and it's really not resisting where the energy pathway takes us and not trying to force that energy pathway to change, right? So like even right now, I found that all day I was going through my process. And then when the stars came out, I hit this energetic stream of deep creativity and passion and magic that I'm rocking with. And even now, this would be a time where it's like, oh, I need to like, I would judge that I'm up at a certain time frame to try to collapse myself into bed so I could wake up at a certain time. So a lot of honoring the quantum calendar, right? You know, free of the measurement of time and the linearity, it's honoring the energetic stream and the pathway that's available to us, is really walking with that energetic stream and using that energy to assist us in whatever way, shape, or form. So if you're up late, right, and you're like, oh man, I'm up late, and you start going into the monkey mind of judging that you're up so late and you can't sleep, and starting to frame it with like, oh, I'm an insomniac, or something's wrong with me, and you start to play into that reality, you know, we can begin to perpetuate and amplify something that we don't need. And so a part of that is that if you're in this energetic stream and it's up late at night, right, it's to just go with the flow of that current, right? It's to really just step in and honor that. You know, there's a call for us to really go into more of our sacred ritual here. Okay. And so these words we have to be careful with, because, you know, what it is, it's a sacred honor, right? It's a sacred practice for yourself. If you see that she's holding flowers and she's staring at the stars, right? And she's like here in this sacred practice, it's really about letting every step of our day be a sacred practice, right? Let every day be a prayer. Let every day be a walk of grace. Let every day be a walk of harmony with the divine, right? Honoring that, taking a moment out of our day to say thank you and to honor that. So when I state this, what this is it's a walk with the divine by seeing the divine within all that you encounter. And yes, I know that at times it can be difficult to do this walk when there's so much going on in the, you know, with the world, right, with humanity. What it is we can also embrace this by walking with our elements, right? Walking with the trees, walking with nature, thanking the stars, thanking the sun, right? Every morning when I wake up, get up outside, have a cigarette, and I say, thank you, sun. I honor you and I thank you, right? And that's my sacred practice, right? And we can do the same thing with the stars. Thank you to the stars for being here. Thank you to the alignments. Thank you to the planet. Thank you to Luna for being here, right? Whatever you choose is yours. But what it is it's about taking a moment out of your day too. So even though this is about deep replenishment, and I really want to highlight this right now because it's important for all of us to make sure we're filling up our cups right now. It's also to take a moment out of our day to step into that sacred connection to earth, to the sky, to thank the mother, the father, the divine child, within, without, however you choose to do that, but to take a moment to replenish the sacred container that is you, right? Because especially when we're going through a lot of separation and a lot of human stuff, right? Through our transformation, through the dissolve, I find that there's a lot of times that I can start to separate off and forget that I'm sacred in any way, shape, or form, because I'm just all middle fingers. I'm not in my Pollyanna self, right? So I'm not all super optimistic and high vibe. I'm in the trenches of my own crap. When I'm there, it really is about taking that moment to honor just even if it's for a second, the sacred or the divinity within that I see, right? So even if like you have to clean up your house, right? How can you turn that into a sacred task, right? Because sometimes our sacred tasks are to create this really cool thing or to create a product to put out or to be of service to someone. But sometimes our sacred tasks are like just getting out of bed, going to the bathroom and walking back to bed, okay? Especially if you're like plasma spine, like a lot of us have been for the past few days and going through a big upgrade. Can we see that as sacred, right? The sacred art of rest. Resting can be an art form, right? And a lot of us will view like, oh, I'm in bed, right? So especially if you have a viewpoint of depression, right? Or like you've had a behavioral health diagnosis, right? So I want to clear that. Let's get out of the framework, right? You're a human having human feelings and human emotions. And I don't want to negate what you're going through or downplay it, right? But I want to state that you're a feeling being and you're feeling a lot of stuff, especially if you've gone through a lot of trauma. But can you see that to take that moment to take care of yourself, right, is sacred art in its own right, right? So is it that when you're done with the shower, you put on body oils or a special lotion, right? Is there you give yourself a sacred massage, you know? And this is not to get weird or to get all 3D, guys, okay? This is really truly about honoring the body, and that can be a sacred practice. Sometimes for me, just waking up in the morning is sacred in itself, because there was a lot of moments for a lot of us on our life where we didn't know if we were going to wake up the next morning, or we didn't want to wake up. So can we see that greeting back with this reality as sacred, right? It's beginning to find that in every moment of the day, because it's really going to assist us in building that sacred relationship with ourselves, but that sacred relationship with our reality. And as a result of that, when we're building a sacred container, right, we're building this foundation of a new earth system that is built on divinity, right? However we choose to view that. But it's just the divine essence within all. As soon as we declare that, we're going to begin to see that which we don't witness as divine in our reality, because that's a part of what occurs. And so then we get now a choice to begin to, how can we recognize that it's divine, or is it something that we need to let go of? But it's really now looking at every moment of the day, every morsel, nugget, every breath that you breathe in as divine. And by no means I'll say that for me is this perfect, right? There's a lot of moments that don't feel divine. But even for me, this is a reminder that when I'm feeling that way, how can I begin to see the divinity within every molecule that surrounds me, right? Within every atom, within every cell and fiber of my being, how can I focus on that divinity and replenish that divinity by viewing that and expanding that within my own form, okay? It's how can I walk, because that's the walk with the divine, is seeing that within all, is seeing God within all, or seeing God consciousness within all, or seeing the universe within all, source within all, however you choose to see it and whatever you choose to frame it as, right? But really it's about, that is how we create the life that is built on a sacred art, is that we witness every molecule, everything around us is sacred. Everything is sacred. Even if it doesn't, because I'm hearing it right now in the field, I know what you guys are saying. How is that thing sacred? Can you see it as sacred? Can you see that what it's doing in the choice point is sacred, right? And I'll tell you what, it doesn't mean we have to accept it, right? It doesn't mean that we have to sit there and just go, yeah, I abide to that. No. But can we see that the roles that are being played out right now are sacred, right? And if we don't view those as sacred in some way, shape, or form, right, then why are we denying God? Why are we denying the universe in that expression? I know it's really hard. Even in myself, I feel myself cringe at a certain level, right? I even feel myself calling myself on that, right? But it's a really interesting practice. Can we see that as sacred, right? Not because the act in itself is sacred of what is occurring, but it's in what is going through the process, what it's creating for this reality. Can we see that that end goal is sacred, right? Question mark. That's up to you, how you want to answer that for yourself. And I'm by no means going to say that that thing is sacred in any way, shape, or form, but it's an interesting perspective and viewpoint to get, to have it just a different awareness and to expand our consciousness a little more. Because when we begin to do that, we're going to begin to elevate our vibration and take everything up a few octaves, and we're going to see things from a new plateau. Okay. So the invitation point is not to see this thing that would, and I hope you all know what I'm talking about, right? It's not to say that it is that, but the viewpoint and perspective of that is going to assist us in shifting and being able to see from a different perspective and being able to elevate above it, right? So a lot of the trappings of that network is that we need to step into the divinity and the sacred task to be able to rise above that thing, and then it no longer affects us. So beginning to see it as that is going to assist in shifting our framework just a few levels, another perspective. We'll see another scope, key, door, unlock, and we'll be able to rise above it, right? So that was just something that was really prevalent in the field with how can we view that as sacred, right? Another thing too here is if you see it's a desert filled with water, and I can definitely relate to this one right now. I live in the desert, right? And it's to know that your dry period is up, right? So this is for someone in here. I don't know if, I'm not going to say it's for me, but for someone who's in here, or someone who comes to this video later, it's that your dry period is over and it's really time for you to receive, right? It's your time to receive. So how do we receive? Receiving requires no action, just to be open to it. That's why we go through these moments of replenish and resetting, right? When we go down and we kind of just are with the heart and still, we're inviting in, we're allowing, right? So it's to let someone know, whoever this resonates with, that right now, your dry period is up. It's time to fill up and to receive and to replenish your body, to replenish your spirit, replenish your soul, replenish all the love you've given out. And a part of that is by turning that inward, replenishing self, but also being open to receive that which is coming forward for you now. Okay. So anyways, thank you guys. Thank you. I want to thank everyone that came out. That was kind of fun. I don't do card readings a whole lot. I have people that I watch that are readers, and I absolutely love them, and it's something I want to dive into more on my own. And it's just fun to play with our abilities and play with all of our different tools and to kind of just play with our creation. So guys, thank you so much. I love you all. Just scrolling through the chat. Did want to hop on, say hi. I've been feeling the call to just go live tonight, but I had some stuff I had to work through. So if you could, please take a moment to send a prayer out or a good energy, whatever you want to call it, to those that are being affected right now by everything going on. There's many that need it in this world. And so if you can inject that light, inject that love, inject that beauty and that peace into the world, it can really help a lot. It'll help to stabilize, and best believe it's felt, right? So keep sending out your prayers, keep sending out your blessings, keep honoring the upgrades, honor the path. And with that, I'll do an update soon. And yeah, that's it for now. Love you guys.